So today at 1 p.m., I'm so excited. I'll link it below. I'm going to be channeling Metatron. And when I asked Archangel Metratron what he wanted to talk about, he said, you should be excited. You're redesigning your DNA. So when I asked him what that meant, he said, it's all about vibration and sound. And he said, this is science. Geneticists have discovered this a good while ago, that human DNA does a bit of a evolutionary jump, if you will. And it does this by activating certain junk DNA, what scientists call junk DNA. When a person is focused on sending love, compassion, acceptance, allowance, flow, grace, these are all specific emotional technologies that he has identified for us that send these positive vibrational frequencies through certain modules that help us synapse properly from the brain in order to activate that junk DNA. So sound does this. And this is why sacred shapes are so important. This is why we've been talking about diamond codes and so many different activations, this past month. And we've been talking about Metatron's, what does he call it? The icosahedron. So today we're going to be talking about the icosahedron cube and the sound waves, these complex sound waves that come through that particular geometric shape, and why certain sacred geometries such as flower of life, seed of life, what that has to do with golden ratio and means, the golden spiral, what that has to do with pi and the Fibonacci spiral. We're going to be talking about the tetrahedron, the hexahedron, these names, I'll tell you what, the octahedron, the star tetrahedron, and the dodecahedron. So all of those are unique Metatronic technologies that help you remember your divine sacred DNA, okay? So I had a YouTuber comment just yesterday and she was like, oh, I heard that Metatron is a part of a fallen angel complex that, is here to bring us all down. And it couldn't be further than the truth. That New Age fear alone is blocking you from understanding the sacred, pure power of sound insofar as what your DNA used to be naturally 175,000 years ago when humans were first forming an arrival on the planet as a galactic race. Okay, we're going to be talking about what happened 175,000 years ago, what then happened 150,000 years ago, 125,000 years ago, and up until now, every 20 to 25,000 years, there's a major change in DNA. We're going to be talking about the galactic history of that on not my Patreon channel, but I'll link this below. This is a private channeling, okay? That's going to be on June the 26th. So we're going to be talking about that, but today, we're going to be talking primarily about these sacred technologies that I've been using for a while now, and the new diamond technologies and I only say new because I'm just remembering them now, and we're just starting to use them. We're just starting to remember and understand this infinite, unbreakable truth about our sacred DNA that was here. And even a part of New Age technology. My goodness, people talk about religious beliefs. In New Age beliefs, they're teaching you that Metatron is some fallen being that is now controlling you by, being fallen and being, Archons and these sort of things. So that belief will also get you away from your sacred DNA structure. So I just urge you to really look at whether it be political, religious, New Age, any structure that says, here, be afraid of this. There's some teachers out there that are starting to be bashing on channeling, saying that channeling is a controlling technology. Well, if you are not stable mentally, absolutely. If you don't meditate, if you don't ground, if you don't eat well, sleep well, take care of yourself, and you're starting to kind of lose your ground emotionally, losing your sanity emotionally, you're experiencing an untreated, undiagnosed mental disorder. That's what happens. And it's not because of channeling, it's because you're not taking care of yourself. And then you have spiritual technologies come in and those combinations string you up. And then people like basically put Metatron up on the chopping block because of that. All right. So no matter what you do, these are powerful technologies. And if you aren't grounded and managing your emotions, eating well and meditating, then yes, you're going to have a hard time with these technologies. But when New Age comes in and says, you know what, be scared of that because it's a fallen Archon. No. That too is a control system. Believe me, I've been talking to Metatron for several years now. He's not an Archon. He's not a fallen angel. He's not these things, that now you see, all over New Age beliefs. So it just kind of brings me to this catalytic point when I get very catalyzed and triggered when I hear teachings, whether they be political, New Age, or spiritual or religious, teachings of fear. Teachings of fear where you're saying, don't do this spiritually because it's not good for you. Well, guess what? You could decide what's good for you. And if you're taking care of yourself and channeling is functional and emotionally stable for you, great. If it's not, don't do it. Is there a danger to channeling? Is there a danger to DNA activation? Absolutely. If you experience a lot of ungrounded, untreated PTSD, if you experience bipolar depression and things of that nature that you're not treating, and I'm not advocating, psychiatric care in terms of medications, that's not really what's going to do it. What I mean by treatment is like naturopathic treatment. If you're not getting therapy or letting someone hold space for you, then yeah, you're going to fly off the handle with these activations. So it's not about whether or not Metatron is an Archon or not. Those are negative belief systems. Another group attempting to frighten you out of remembering the most basic, simple, loving, powerful DNA activations of what you used to be before you got into all this fear on this planet, which is, very accessible right now. You can open up the internet, type in Metatron, and get some powerful, loving things and get some things that scare the crap out of you. It's going to happen in any belief system. Okay. So I am really enjoying working with Metatron, and I'm enjoying working with combinations of sacred sound. And we're going to be talking about sacred sound with certain Metatronic technologies that are so powerful. And, if you're a stable person mentally, you can handle these technologies. If you aren't, you can't. And what you need is a shaman, a healer, a therapist, someone to hold space instead of jumping in these technologies. What you would need to do instead would be to jump into meditation and proper wholesome eating, balancing your circadian rhythm instead of trying to open your third eye or trying to remember and activate your DNA. So there's two sides of the story here. Okay. So come join me today. I'll link it below. It is a tier 4 and tier 5 class. The reason being, it's a channeling rather. Priscilla Lewis is going to be facilitating for that. I'm going to be teaching you all these technologies, and then I'm going to go into trance and let you ask Metatron all of your questions. But it is a very deep and longer channeling because I have some things to teach you. So I'm going to teach you what he shared to me before I go into trance. And then, because it's like so much material shared, I had to make it a little bit higher of a tier, just to be able to support all the time that I put into gathering these technologies and preparing for teaching you these technologies, because there are several of them and they're all very specific, very clear, and very powerful. So it is a tier 4 to tier 5 channeling. I'll link it below, but the main reason why I wanted to share this with you today is because I'm really tired as a teacher of hopping on YouTube and seeing people spreading fear about these sacred technologies. And that's what New Age does. They give you all these powerful things, and then when you lose your shit, you go on YouTube and go, oh my God, I just mentally lost my shit. It's bad. It's demonic. It's taking me over. Stop it. That's insane. And you're going insane. And when you start to lose your battle with the mind, don't blame New Age technologies. Blame yourself, and don't shame yourself. There's a difference between accountability and shame. But go into personal accountability for jumping into something that was over your head, and get back to some simple meditation and sunlight and drinking water and sleeping well and getting more mentally sound before you shame a beautiful angel like Metatron or the channels who teach about Metatron like me. So rant over. Been so much of that I'm seeing out there, that at some point I start to get really catalyzed and have to do a little daily update about it. So there you have it. I'll see you at the channeling in class today at 1 p.m. I'll link it below. If you're mentally ill, just don't come. Like I have, my gosh, I help mentally ill people all day long, but that's not what I do. I don't teach them Metatronic technologies to open their third eye. I teach them meditation, eating wholesome food, yoga, and basic things. So, and I send them to emotional healers and shamans and therapists. Okay. And I've been there. I've been one of those people who have needed all those things. There's no shame in that, but don't try to open up your systems with Metatronic technologies if you're not ready, and then get mad at Metatron or me. The end. Rant over. I love you. Bye.